Hola amigos, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emma and I normally write contemporary romance, but I am actually writing a Regency romance at the moment, which is one of the reasons why I am where I am today. So I am staying at the Thornbury Castle Hotel. It's a Tudor castle which has been transformed into this amazing luxury hotel. And I am here for a bit of much needed relaxation, honestly, but also a little bit of research. So it has been an absolutely crazy couple of months for me. I have been working so hard. I'm having 3 contemporary romance books out with my publishers this year. And although most of them were already written, the editing has really been a lot. I'm also a freelance developmental editor and I've had quite a lot of jobs through with that. And I teach a creative writing class and I'm a book coach as well. It's just been a lot. So despite the fact that it is in the middle of Camp Nano and I have a completely crazy project going on, which you must make sure that you check out if you haven't already. I will try to remember to link the videos to that down in the description below. Decided to come away for a couple of days to this amazing place and just take the opportunity to be in some amazing history and just really get a feel for this place, because I've got some plans to include it in a manuscript of mine. Anyway, so yeah, at the moment I'm just relaxing. We've only been here a little while and I will do a little tour of our room in a bit. And I've got my ever trusted little leaflet with the history here. I have actually been offered, if I'd like, a little tour with the castle historian, which would be completely awesome. And I'm hoping to be able to organise that for tomorrow. So that'll be really fascinating, but I won't vlog that because I don't know if the historian will want to be on film. But I definitely will take you around the castle and things, and probably bore you to death with many facts from this leaflet and from the website as well as from the historian. So yeah, I'm going to go and relax now, and then I'll do a little tour of the room for you. That'll probably be the next thing you see. And yeah, I don't know, I'll be back with something in a little while. You'll see me probably in the grounds or whatever. Anyway, catch you in a little bit. I'm just going to take you on a little tour of our room. That's like the sitting room bit, and I don't know, is this like a reading nook? I mean, is there a more perfect room for a writer? I don't think so. And then we go up the stairs. We're not allowed up this bit. No access beyond this point, so that's going up the tower. But then in here, we have the bathroom with the obligatory robes, very nice, and the bedroom with the second TV, because obviously you need 2 TVs, and yeah, Nespresso machine as well, super important. You know, I think we'll be okay here. Look at those, they're kind of cool. Let's have a look outside the window. I want to see what's outside here. Oh, a van. Okay, that's not as exciting as I thought it was going to be, but still, oh, bye van. Obviously knew that he was being filmed. I love that. Okay, there we go. So that is where we're going to be staying. So just showing you the downstairs of the hotel a little bit. This, I guess you call this the drawing room. Is this the drawing room? I'm not fancy enough to kind of know the proper terms maybe, but I think it's the drawing room. I'm fairly sure. It's pretty lovely. I'm going to make myself feel like travel sick, seasick, if I continue turning around like that. So yeah, it's really lovely in here. This is where they serve afternoon tea, I believe, and there's board games and things for people here. So that's really nice. These amazing huge windows. Let me turn around and see. Can I show you these? There we go. Aren't they gorgeous? And it is a beautiful day. It's been raining the last couple of days, just kind of grey and miserable. So it's nice to see, yeah, a little bit of sunshine. And then this is the library next to it. And they also have afternoon tea in here, I believe, hence all the tables. But there are some lovely, really lovely old editions, actually, of books. I could have a lovely time in here for like a week or so. Just having a look. reading whichever ones take my fancy. But yeah, I think we will go back in here because this seems like a comfy place to have a little bit of a chat. I'm going to have to work out where to put my camera though, aren't I? Give me a minute. Hi. I made the executive decision to move into the library because there were some people in the drawing room, and also because, guess what, in the library there are books. So I've made myself another makeshift stand for my camera. Right, yeah, so history of this place is completely bonkers. Thank you so much to the website and to my precious leaflet here. So basically, the castle was built about 500 years ago by this guy, Edward Stafford, as I mentioned before, and he was the third Duke of Buckingham. But the problem is that he was so wealthy that the only person who had more money than him in England was the king, who happened to be King Henry VIII, who we all know didn't particularly like anybody to, have more money or generally be better than him in any kind of way. Anyway, so Edward Stafford, he wanted a building which kind of befitted his status. And so he went to the king and he asked him if he would be allowed to build this castle, because you had to be granted a license. And he did this in, 1510? So basically he wanted to embattle his manor house and turn it into a castle. But he also added lots of palatial features. It's insane. I'll show you later on. I'll film a little bit outside so that you can properly see the outside of the building, because it's just completely amazing. It's absolutely beautiful. It was particularly gorgeous last night. We went for a walk after dinner in the gardens, and it was so lovely. But honestly, I didn't want to bring my camera with me, I'm afraid. So sorry about that. Anyway, so so the castle was being constructed, but it came to a halt in, in 1521, when the Duke was summoned from Thornbury to stand trial in London, because apparently he'd kind of been wondering aloud about what would happen if Henry VIII died. And it turns out that he was a descendant of King Edward III. And so, Henry VIII was probably not too pleased with him kind of, just making these kind of inquiries, these ponderings that Edward Stafford was making. So he was found guilty of treason and was beheaded on Tower Hill. Now, we all know that Henry VIII was a little bit prone to beheading people and stuff. And I'm not saying that he should have beheaded people, but when you look at the outside and what this Duke, he was the third Duke of Buckingham, by the way, what he was planning, he was going to have barracks for up to 300 soldiers. And this was a proper fortification. And you would have to wonder, as the king, so there's this guy who has a claim to the throne, who is extremely wealthy and who is now building a fortification for himself. I'm sorry, but I reckon it was likely that he was planning something. So in this case, I can't really blame Henry VIII for being a little bit put out, like I say. Anyway, so Henry VIII took possession of all of the Duke of Stafford's properties, which again actually could have been another reason for the beheading if Henry VIII wasn't really worried about this claim that Edward Stafford had, because this place is amazing. And Henry VIII sold most of the properties, but he did keep Thornbury Castle, and he stayed there with Anne Boleyn. They actually stayed here for 10 days. They were on a tour, but the plague hit Bristol, and so they stayed here for 10 days. And then in 1525, Princess Mary, who was 9 at the time, she stayed here for 18 nights, and she also stayed in 1526 and 1527. But funnily enough, it was Princess Mary who became Queen Mary, who ended up giving the castle back to the Stafford family. That was after she became queen, and apparently she was very, very grateful to the Staffords for the support that they'd given to her mother, Catherine of Aragon, when Henry VIII divorced her. And so when she became queen, she gave them back the castle. Yeah, which was quite nice. So yeah, so what I really need to find out a little bit more about is what was going on in the Regency period here. So, you know, who owned it, and I'm guessing that, and I believe what I've seen is that it was a private residence still at that time. But yeah, I need to do a little bit of research into that, so that when I use it as some form of setting in my Regency book, so that, you know, I'm fairly accurate with what was going on at the time. But I really can't wait to show you guys the outside of this place, because it is just, it's absolutely bonkers. It really is. The different types of architecture that you see, and it's quite puzzling to work out what's happened in places, because you can see that there's a wall which has kind of been broken, and then another bit that sticks out like next to it, but that seems to be older. So it's really, really interesting. And I was saying last night as we were walking around it, I wonder if there's actually anywhere in the world where you would see this kind of bonkers architecture, if you like. So last year, if you remember, I took another research trip, and I went to an amazing hotel called Fawsley Hall, which is another manor house. And there again, the architecture, it's just bonkers. There's no other way to describe it. You've got the original house, and then it tended to be the Victorians, it has to be said, who enjoyed adding their crazy bits. You know, they were into their follies and their ha-has and things like that. And they just went and added, like, you know, it'd be a manor house, they'd just add like a turret and some gargoyles because they thought it would be cool to make it gothic or whatever. And it's bonkers. Yeah, so I really do wonder, and if you know, then please let me know. Is there anywhere else in the world where this kind of thing happens? Because to me, it does seem a peculiarly English thing to do. The English eccentric to take, you know, a manor house or a castle or whatever, and then when you come into possession of it, just to add random bits here and there to give it a feel for something else. So yeah, it's really great. So I need a cup of tea because I'm British and it's been, you know, a little while since breakfast. But then I will take you on a little bit of a tour of outside, which is completely beautiful. The gardens here are lovely. They've got a load of volunteer gardeners who work on them, as well as I imagine that the castle actually employs gardeners as well. But I really love the idea that there are these volunteers that get to come along and just work in this like amazing place. Yeah, so I will be back soon and we'll do a little bit of a tour together. I'm in the garden as promised, and this is the fountain that I was listening to while I was in bed last night. It was kind of soporific actually, it was nice. You can see our bedroom. I don't know if you can see, am I holding it right? It's the one with the windows open up there, although we have checked out now. So this is just like the gardens around the fountain. It's very, very fancy. We like this. I'm going to make myself feel sick again, aren't I? But you can see, like, this is the actual manor house. It's pretty nice. This is not too shabby at all. Not at all. And I'm actually quite happy because it's not too hot today either. So although the sun has gone in, oh, I'm getting soggy from this fountain. Yeah, so it's warm, but it's not too hot. So that's really nice. So yeah, we're having a wander around. What I really like actually is that for a history nerd like me, around and about they've got little signs telling you what things are if it's not completely clear. So we were just walking through one part of the gardens, which apparently the idea was it smelt lovely, lots and lots of fragrant flowers, and that was where women went to gossip. But in the walls there were like little kind of holes, and there were straw beehives there, and those holes were especially to protect the beehives. And here we have this, let me see if I can get it in picture. There we go, that's a mounting block to aid you in getting on your horse. And it may have been used by Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn when they visited. So yeah, I mean that's a pretty big horse if you actually need to go all the way up here to get on it. But still, there you go. So that's cool. Yeah, so like I say, being a nerd, I really like stuff like that. So trying to take in as much of those little details as I can, as well as the architecture. And there's gorgeous trees here in the gardens as well, which are just really nice. And the plants as well, what I really like is a lot of them are labelled, because I don't really know much about plants and I don't really know many trees, but it's fun to discover more because every day is a school day. I'm coming round to the front of the castle now so that I can show all this to you. There's an absolutely gorgeous church as well. Can I show you the church? Can you see the church? There next to it, which I'm guessing is Thornbury Church. I don't know. But yeah, like, just look how gorgeous this is. It's amazing. So beautiful. The trees, I know I've mentioned the trees, but yeah, it's just lovely. Obviously it's quite busy here this morning. There's lots of gardening and work going on, hence the machines that you can hear in the background, but never mind. The entranceway was also really beautiful. It's just behind me here, and we drove along that yesterday. That was let me see if I can get it better. There we go. That was very impressive when we were coming through there. And I just wanted to take you to come and show you over here, which we found when we were having a little after dinner stroll last night, working off our delicious 4 courses. It was really good food actually, so delicious. And breakfast today I had pancakes with syrup and berry compote, and I had sourdough toast and salami and brie and fruit salad and croissant. Right, so here, around here, this is, according to the sign, it's the main gateway and barracks, the unfinished gateway, because if you remember, Edward Stafford was dragged off to be tried for treason, but it contained grooves for portcullis. The gate would have been manned and the portcullis let down at the first sign of any threat. I do like a portcullis, it has to be said. The barracks, also never completed, were intended to house between 200 to 300 soldiers and staff, which was why, as I pointed out earlier, that I was a little bit suspicious of dear old Eddie's intent when it came to building this. Although, as I say, the British are eccentrics, so I wouldn't put it completely beyond an Englishman just to decide that he wanted to build a castle around his manor house for no other reason than that he thought it would be kind of fancy. But yeah, it's just so cool. The stonework is awesome, and some of the windows in this place are really cool. Let me see if I can show you. Yeah, you've got these really cool windows and everything. It's just lovely. but we are going to have to leave now. It is time for us to go. We're not going to go straight home. We are going to go to Gloucester on the way, and we're going to go and check out the cathedral and have some lunch and things like that. So that's cool. I will be back because what I'm going to do is do a little bit of extra research about the Regency period. So I'll let you know what I find out, and I will say goodbye then. So I'll check you out in a little while. So I'll be back in a little while. Well, I've been back home for a while now. Frankly, it's rubbish. No one even turns the bed down for me or anything. So I would really like to go back to the castle, to be honest. But I have done a little bit more research. Unfortunately, I couldn't find out much at all about the actual Regency period. So what I found out is that after the Civil War, the castle, it really fell into disrepair for quite a long time, and it wasn't until the 19th century that it began to be renovated by the Howard family. So basically, I don't have information for the Regency period other than the fact that the castle was not in a good state at all. So, I mean, I can probably work around that. Maybe it would be quite fun to have it as this kind of really shabby, rundown kind of manor house with these crazy castle walls around it, owned by an eccentric family. I don't know. I think I could do something with that. But anyway, yeah, so the Howard family, they owned it until 1960. And then it became a restaurant, and the food writer Nigel Slater worked there apparently, which I thought was quite cool, and yet another claim to fame for the castle. So there we go. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video, that you liked coming along with me on my little research trip. If you did, please remember to boop that like button and subscribe if you're not already, because I have all kinds of videos on this channel and we have so much fun here, and I will catch you in the next one.